Hello, my beautiful rosebuds. It's your favorite rosebud, Nisi K, and I am coming to you with another gossip bud.
Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up.
Alright, again guys, so if you see me looking down, it is because I am looking at my notes for what we're going to go over. The first topic that we are actually going to discuss today is T.I. arrested trying to get inside his gated community so that he could go home. So what is actually happening is T.I. had a situation where he was trying to get home early Wednesday morning, and in the process of trying to get home, he realized he lost his gate key to get through the door. So because he actually lost his gate key, he was trying to wake up the security guard so that he could get in. And I'm sorry if you see that my nails are broken. It just broke when I was still in my makeup, so it is what it is. But hey, whatever. Anyway, so he was trying to get the guard to wake up so that he could go ahead and get into the gated community. He could not get the guard to wake up. So when he was finally able to get the guard to wake up, the guard didn't recognize who he was. So he told the guard, hey, look me up. The guard couldn't find him in the system. So when the guard couldn't find him in the system, T.I. had phoned a friend. And the friend tried to vouch and say, hey, you know, this is T.I. He lives here, but the guard wasn't having it. So the friend came out and there was an argument that pursued and everything. And even in the process, T.I. actually came back out later and stated that the whole issue where he even went to go have a conversation with the security guard is because the security guard was actually being rude to Tiny. So what is actually happening is the guard who was asleep when he showed up, he had a hard time waking him up, and because he didn't see T.I.'s name in the system, of course, you know his real name is Clifford Harris, I believe, he had him contact Tiny, or he contacted Tiny actually, and had Tiny called down to verify him. And so Tiny did, and what is stated is the guard got belligerent with Tiny and made a comment to her saying, who the fuck do you think he was talking to like this? Which, I mean, I don't know anybody else, but I know my husband, if somebody, like a guy, spoke to me in that manner, my husband probably would have a problem with it too. He'd be like, hey, hold on. I don't know who you think you're talking to, but you're not going to speak to my wife like that. So I can't even get angry with the fact that T.I. actually got angry and tried to defend his wife in that manner. And then what actually is said here is, even though this is where I sit here and I look at T.I. and I'm like, okay, you did make a mistake in the situation, because what happened is, even though the guard let him in, when he found out how the guard spoke to Tiny, he went back out to the guard station, and he says he went out there to get the guard's name so that he could report him to his manager. But what happened is the guard didn't see it that way, so the guard contacted the police. And when the guards contacted the police came and they picked up T.I. and they arrested him along with a friend who was the friend that he actually called first to try to vouch for him, and came out and was a part of the argument because that friend had a warrant. So they went to jail, and T.I. was charged with simple assault, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness. Now, with the simple assault, what I do have to mention is T.I. did not put his hands on the security guard in any way, but I guess because the security guard felt threatened and felt like T.I. came to attack him and start problems, that is why the police was able to charge him with simple assault, even though it doesn't make sense. But hey, you know, it is what it is. So T.I. is now dealing with this situation that actually happened, and you know, with T.I., he's not, the word I'm looking for is, he is not somebody who is not familiar with the police. He's had his brush with the law. He's been in jail for gun possession. You know, he used to sell dope and do all of that before he got into the position that he is in. So him having issues with the police, that's nothing new for him. The reasoning that he has the problem with the police right now, I feel like that is a little bit suspect. Now, nobody's saying that this person was racist or anything like that, because the guard was actually black. So it's nothing about racism or anything like that, but it's just, it goes to the way I sit here and look at it is they were saying that the police officer actually did not even listen to T.I.'s side to try to take T.I.'s statement down on what happened. They just instantly talked to the guard and then turned around and arrested T.I. and his friend. So that really looks suspect right there. Like, okay, how are you not even going to get his side of the story? You're just going to instantly go off of what this guard is saying, even though technically T.I. has a witness there, because you arrested this person too, who was saying, hey, this is how this situation went down. So I didn't understand that, but at the end of the day, you know, I'm not a police officer. I don't know like every nook and cranny of the law. I'm sitting here looking into it and studying a little bit more so that I do know my rights as a person, but I can't get mad at T.I. for wanting to defend his wife. I can just say that he handled it incorrectly in the manner of you already went home. So when you went home, if anything, you should have got up the next, Wednesday, like when you wake up, go down to to speak with the security manager and ask them, hey, they should know already who they had working on the schedule. They keep schedules. So they should have known who was already on the schedule, even if you didn't get his name. And you should have went and be like, hey, I had a situation with one of the guys you had working at such and such time. This was the situation. Can you please address it? At that particular point, bam. They handle it from there, but the fact that you actually felt the need to go back down there, that was more of your ego, and that was more of his pride than anything that kicked in, and he didn't have a rational thought on, okay, you know what, I'm already inside my house, I'm not going to worry about this right now, I will handle this once I get my sleep and I get up. But I can't, like I said, I can't fault him. It is what it is. Sometimes you're stuck in a rock and a hard place. He was trying to defend his lady, so I give him kudos for that, but I just feel like he went through the wrong method, because you can still defend your wife without having to go back out and address the situation, especially if you were already home. So
Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up.
So our next topic here is actually going to be Nev from the show Catfish. Is under investigation for sexual misconduct claim. So what is actually happening is, because he is under investigation for this sexual misconduct claim, his show is currently halted until the findings of the investigation come back. So as I take it, is the fate of his show is going to be determined on if this comes back showing that the claims that are being made against him and another person are true, or if they're just lying. So what is actually happening is these claims are coming aimed a YouTube blog that was actually released. There was a guest on the show by the name of Alyssa Morgan. I could be saying her name wrong. I apologize. But it's Alyssa Morgan. And what she actually states in the video is that, and I actually wrote down notes again. If you see me looking down, I'm reading. But she states that Nev allegedly sexually harassed her the entire production. He supposedly doused her with compliments, suggested they get in a jacuzzi, questioned her sexual preference, and suggested they have sex. And so, on top of that, she is also claiming that an unidentified woman producer on staff assisted with getting her drunk and ended up on top of her. She is stating that the next day the whole crew talks about the woman getting lucky. So what she is pretty much saying is, after Nev was questioning if she was really a lesbian, questioning if she really was, you know, understanding her sexual preference and trying to coerce her to get into a jacuzzi and have sex with him, that what ended up happening is one of his women crew workers, or that was a part of production, actually ended up assisting in getting her drunk, and in the process of assisting getting her drunk, took advantage of her, and she just remembers the lady being on top of her. So these all sound really bad right there. Now, Nev is actually responding to this, and he is saying that he actually did an interview with The Blast, and he is stating that the allegations are lies and his staff is actually backing him on his claims. So what his statement is the behavior described in this video did not happen, and I'm fortunate that there are a number of former colleagues who were present during this time period who were willing to speak up with the truth. I have always been transparent about my life and would always take responsibility for my actions, but these claims are false. So I do find that pretty, anyway, sorry, I do find that kind of weird. So she did make these claims So she did make these claims on a YouTube video, and to my knowledge there hasn't been a police report submitted. She's not trying to have them be pretty much brought to justice for what she is pretty much, because the fact that she even said that they assisted in getting her drunk and the other girl was on top of her, what she describing is rape to me. So I don't, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to bash or do anything like that. I'm just sitting here saying that it's ironic how she is now coming out in a YouTube video, and there's even a section where she pretty much states that she can do a second part, and if you want a second part, she wanted to she would do a second part if she got, I believe, 500 likes on the first video where she was discussing what happened to her. And again, I'm never going to sit here and say that a woman is lying about what happened to her. I will, however, say I find it weird that you were using your situation that, from how she explained it herself, is a traumatic experience. It's something that was, like I said, to me it sounded like she was stating, on top of sexual harassment, that she was pretty much raped by a female colleague that worked with Nev. And so the fact that you actually bring this on YouTube and you're using this as a way to get likes so that you can get views, it's a little off-putting to me. And the reason I sit here and I say it's off-putting to me is because you do have situations like people will sit here and say, oh, you're wrong, you're bashing her. But I'm not trying to bash her, and I'm trying to look at the situation because you do have women who claim these things and they lie. They're claiming these things because whether they're angry at whoever they're making the claims against for not wanting to be with them, or whatever that person did, or that they had a boyfriend and they had an affair with the person and now they don't want their boyfriend to feel like they did something wrong by having the affair, so they claim rape. Like, I've been in situations where I've seen females claim rape in a situation that wasn't true. So with how it's being handled, it makes you wonder, could this very well be the possibility that this may not be something that really happened? Because of how it's being handled. But at the end of the day, I do agree with the investigation and verifying her claims, because especially on MTV's part, I believe this is on MTV, I'm not sure, I apologize, I don't know the exact network the show plays on, but especially on the network side, they're going to want to sit here and do an investigation, because why would you want to sit here and support somebody who has these these claims against them, especially if it comes out that these claims are true, because then that can affect them, and that can affect people wanting to come to their station to watch their shows that they produce and they put on. So of course, do the investigation, and if it is determined that this is something that is true, he needs to be dealt with. But at the same time, I would also say, if it is not past the statute of limitations, go ahead and look at legal prosecution against him too, to make an example, because it has to come to a point where people need to understand there are consequences and repercussions for your actions. And even if a person sits here and is alone with you or anything like that, if this person says no, or this person is telling you they're not interested, you have to be able to accept that, and you have to be able to deal with that. You can't force yourself on it. And this is man or woman, because there are men who run into the same issue too, where they've been raped by a woman, but of course, because it's a woman and the double standard, it's thought of as, oh, you're a wimp or you're pussy if you sit there and complain, and you should just deal with it. But I am speaking on both men and women. Nobody deserves to get disrespected. So I feel like this should be investigated, and if it is determined that he did do that, then it should be dealt with. But at the same time, if it is determined that she is lying, I do feel like there should be things put in, like consequences put into place about people who lie, because you have too many real women who are really going through this, and they're not believed, because you have so many women that do lie about this happening to them, like I mentioned previously. So I do feel like if it comes out that she is lying, then there should be some consequences looked at to being brought against her also.
Live it up, live it up, live it up, live it up.